Thank you. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about core development that we did for OJS in the project. To start with, I just want to explain what core development actually means. Compared to plugins, it basically means that we've been doing enhancements and new features to OJS to the part of the OJS core code itself. So it's not like independent plugins that you have to install. It comes with the new versions of OJS when you install them. So the goal, or the goals that we had with development are listed there, and the first one was to develop something with a wide impact, and doing the core features was really one of the things that we wanted to do because it has a wide impact. It has a slower impact. You can install a plugin right away. When you want to, with the core features, you need to wait. You need to wait for the new versions of OJS to come out. But once they come out, they are available automatically for everyone. You want it or not, they will be there, and you have to use them. The other goal was to respond to community needs. And as you can see, not all of the community needs. I think there's like 800 open issues in the PKP GitHub at the moment, so there's a lot of needs listed there. But we didn't want to basically like start inventing things that we want to develop. We wanted to find things that have been requested many times by the community and chose a lot of things based on the PKP roadmap. So basically a development roadmap that PKP is maintaining, listing the most important things that they think should be in part of OJS. And lastly, there was a goal to meet as much as European challenges as possible. So, of course, all the features that we did are available globally when you install the new version of OJS, but we tried to choose topics that fit especially the European landscape. So the targets that we had then based on these goals were data privacy and GDPR, multilingual publishing, and better metadata. And of course, the two first ones are that are targeting especially the European audiences. But data privacy things are also something that apply to other parts of the world as well. GDPR is a legislation that has many examples, similar examples in other countries as well. Multilingual publishing, I think Johan spoke about it yesterday in his speech. That's an important part of the European publishing landscape. So we wanted to pay attention to that as well. And to be honest, the better metadata target, that was like a target that we thought would be a umbrella for different kinds of things that we wanted to develop, not to have a better title for that. So concerning the data privacy development, there was especially this one big challenge in OJS where the user handling and user management wasn't GDPR compliant. There was the ability for editors to create user accounts, for example, add new reviewers and accounts for them when a review invitation was sent. And all this, of course, broke the GDPR legislation quite a lot. And there was a big innovation in my experience in the OJS software that we introduced an idea of having invites in the system. So basically all the user handling done by editors is now being handled through invites. So if you want to add a new user account, for example, you basically send an invite and the user complies to creating an account. The same applies to giving roles to people that already have accounts. You can basically say that, do you want to have this role, and then the user has to accept that role. This is work done by TIP in the project. I think this was the single largest thing that we contributed to during the project when it comes to OJS development. It was quite huge. It took a lot of time and a lot of meetings with PKP to get things right, but I think it paid off really well. So the other thing is we worked on is multilingual publishing. This is where our organization, the Federation of Finnish Learned Societies, did the coding. We did quite a lot of smaller things as well. I think these two that I mentioned here were the most important ones. So basically, the old support for article metadata in OJS was based on the idea that you had to have like the user interface language available in that specific language. So that meant that pretty much all small languages or regional languages were not in the scope of OJS when it came to article metadata. So we introduced a new approach where we completely separated the UI language pattern and the metadata language pattern. And we now have a list of over 700 languages, different kind of languages that you can use for providing article metadata. The problem still is that most of the other services don't support the languages, but I think that it was mentioned in some speech or talk already that in many cases we can also act as basically like leaders that how do we want multilingual data to work in software, and this is one place where we basically do that. The other thing that we did is connected to indexing. So the old URL structure in OJS was something that you couldn't tell in what language is the content in when you enter a URL. And that was also a problem for indexing sites like Google or Yahoo or whatever. They only had one link to follow, and the language shown on that link was in probably like the default language of the journal. And we basically introduced as part of the language, or part of the URLs, a structure where the language is mentioned. So there's now a possibility for indexing, for example, Google, to follow language-specific URLs, and they will catch like the multilingual content, not only for the articles, but also for all kinds of description pages of the journal. So if you have about the journal page, for example, in OJS, where you explain what kind of journal you are, it's now visible for Google in all the languages that you are providing it in at the moment. And then there's the catch-all topic that we had. I've titled it here, Better Metadata. These are the three probably main things that we did there. So we added a support for controlled vocabularies into OJS. It basically means that we changed the data structure, the database structure in OJS, and the ability to hook different kinds of vocabularies using small plugins in a way that it's really easy. So if you have, for example, a national vocabulary for keywords that you are using, we have something like that in Finland, for example, you can create a really simple plugin that supports that specific vocabulary, hook that into the keywords field, and then the data is stored in a proper way. So the old version of OJS was basically just storing the labels of the keywords, just the keyword itself. The new version of OJS is now storing also the identifiers for the keywords. So it's basically like more richer data for the keywords. And it's not only keyword fields, it's also fields like disciplines and coverage and so on. The other thing is contributor metadata, where we did some major overhauls. We added core support for credit roles into OJS. It has been a plugin in OJS before, but now it's basically in the core. It's now in the development version of OJS, so it's coming in 3.6. It's not available yet, but it's there already. And the other thing is groups and anonymous contributors. So you probably see in a lot of, I think DOHA has seen a lot of journal articles where the author name is editorial board, first name editorial and last name board probably. And that's of course a bit problematic metadata-wise. So we are introducing basically something that Crossref has in their schema. So they have three types of contributors mentioned in the schema. There's the person contributor, and then there's a group contributor, and then an anonymous contributor. And now in the forthcoming 3.6 version of OJS, you can choose between these different types of a contributor, and the metadata is then solid and sent in a proper way forward. And lastly, we've done work on data citations. There's actually a bigger project going on at PKP, not part of the craft-oa project, but there's a preparation for structured citation support. So this is in a way a subset of that work that we also add a support for data citations in craft-oa. As you can see, with the start are the features that are available in 3.6, and the rest of them are actually already available if you install OJS 3.5. Okay, I think behind the QR code you can find all the results, and there's a more detailed list if you're interested about the GitHub issues and details. Then you can find more about these features. But that's all. Thank you.
We have time for one question. I have one. Can I ask a question? Yes. I have my microphone. Oh, Mark is before me, but I will still keep my question.
I have many, but just one. Probably yours is one of the biggest projects in collaboration with PKP I have seen. What do you feel we need to change to make these kind of collaborations more extensive, easier, and so on? I have another question if you don't like this one.
Big question.
I would answer, but the PKP representatives are here. So
I'm talking about you.
I can answer. Yeah, but because I've spoken about this with PKP already, I think that the problem is probably that they don't have that much experience in doing collaborations like this, in this scale. And overall, it has gone really well, in my opinion. The problem is probably that there's a lot of development work going on besides this. It's really hard to get PKP's, their developers' attention, especially attention to details, because details matter a lot in these things, and to have like a transparent and clear decision-making process when we do a development like this. And it's not something that I blame PKP of flagging. It's more that they don't have that much experience in doing these kinds of things, and that's probably something that should be like developed to make things a bit smoother. There hasn't been any like major problems. I don't want to say that we have had like regular meetings on the development work, and that has worked really, really nicely. But I think it's lack of time for them, lack of like existing ways of work with these kind of projects that are the source of the problem. Yeah.
Thank you. Can I only ask the question about the universal decimal classification? Is it possible to not only keywords integrate into this plugin, but only as codes from the library schemes?
Yeah, basically there's, I don't remember them, what are all of the fields there, but there are 4 or 5 metadata fields in OJS that are basically based on the idea that they already have this like idea of a controlled vocabulary which is created inside the journal. So when you enter something into the field, it will remember it the next time and suggest it. What we introduced is the ability that you could have like an external source for the suggestions of the words. So if you have a clear source of those kinds of words, and there's a clear field in OJS where to attach it, it's just like a few lines of code basically in the plugin. It depends on is it, for example, available as an API? So is the
it's prepared in link data and JSON
Yeah,
and
yeah.
other.
But that's
yeah.
up to the plugin. So it could
Excellent.
also be like a flat file inside the plugin that the plugin reads and suggests the different alternatives for that field. So it's quite flexible as a solution.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Antti.
Thank you.